Formula 1 returns to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal for round 7 of the 2017 season, the Canadian Grand Prix, and there was much speculation surrounding the whole weekend, following on from two very controversial decisions from the stewards last race to hand both Carlos Sainz and Esteban Ocon each a one-race ban for their dangerous driving when going up to be lapped by the two Williams drivers. BMW bring their first major upgrade package of the season, as they feel that this is their best race to finally take a win in the season and try and take the fight to Red Bull for third place in the Constructors. Toyota announced that third driver Kamui Kobayashi will be racing for the team for this weekend, as Esteban Ocon serves his one-race ban following the incident with Josh Tirowee at the previous race meeting. Haas were also huge beneficiaries from the BMW upgrades, as both Lance Stroll and Robert Kubica looked to edge towards the top 10 in qualifying and for the race as well. Cosworth also bring a redesigned turbo for both Red Bull and Sauber, as they both look to increase their power from the engine and move slower up the grid to fight for higher paying points positions. Nico Carey will also race for Toro Rosso, as Carlos Sainz also receives a one-race ban for weaving dangerously in front of Sebastian Buemi when the Williams driver came up to lap him. For the second race in a row, Sebastian Vettel will start from pole position, and once again Fernando Alonso will complete the front row as the lead Mercedes. It'll be the usual suspects completing the second row, with Jean-Eric Vergne getting the better of Pascal Wehrlein by almost 0.2 of a second to line up in P3. Josh Tirowee will use his BMW power unit upgrades to good effect to line up in 5th, with Max Verstappen maximising the power from his Cosworth powered Red Bull to line up in 6th. The teammates of Josh Tirowee and Max Verstappen, Sebastian Buemi and Daniel Kvyat line up in 7th and 8th to complete the 4th row of the grid. Lewis Hamilton starts from 9th in the Toyota, with Lance Stroll getting into the top 10 for the first time in his Formula 1 career, also benefiting from some extra power. Kamui Kobayashi lands up in 11th on his first qualifying since Brazil 2014, with Robert Kubica completing the 6th row for Haas. Nico Hülkenberg will start as the lead runner from 13th, with Nico Carey on his F1 debut managing 14th on the grid. Daniel Ricciardo will start from 15th and 2nd of the Renaults, with Rui Harianto the lead McLaren in 16th, Giovinazzi as the lead Sauber in 17th, then Jordan and Sutil 18th and 19th, and Pierre Gasly will round off the back of the grid after not setting a time. We're now coming to the 5 red lights for the start of the Canadian Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go. Can we get a good start for once this season? No, we get another terrible start. So he looks and we've got Max Verstappen easily breezes past us. No, Sebastian Buemi going side by side with us now to tail on to try holding now around the inside. Our team Sebastian Buemi should then turn to the outside. So now to try holding it around the outside on the racing line. One team Sebastian Buemi just managed to slither up the inside there. So we lose 2 positions there. We'll start now trying to defend now from Daniel Kvyat in the second of the Red Bulls. And then the lead Toyota there of Lewis Hamilton will get right behind up Sebastian Buemi there through the sector. I mean, we just edged out Sebastian Buemi in qualifying, so there's not much between us in this race weekend. So Buemi really is finally starting to find his feet, find some form in this season. If we get a terrible exit there, get too much on the curb, lose the back end completely, that's going to really kill our momentum now. Down this back straight, that's going to allow Daniel Kvyat now to close round to the back of us now. And actually go defensive there slightly to the inside, taking more compromised line through the apex of that corner than what we would have wanted. But thankfully we do stay ahead there of Daniel Kvyat, use the power to pull away there from the Red Bull. As you see there, coming up now into the hairpin, because through the corners is where the Red Bull excels over the Williams, but there's not really that many corners here around Canada, so you'd think that hopefully, Williams have the advantage this weekend over the Austrian drinks company. Now gaining installation now on the back of Sebastian Buemi is now gaining installation also on the back of Verstappen, and we've got the two Ferraris going side by side up in front. I think this is Sebastian Vettel making a move in, Jean-Eric Vergne is side by side now into the final corner, getting so close to the wall there between the two of them. That's really going to kill the momentum completely now to get a good view of everyone else there coming through the final chicane. There's going to be side by side and Sebastian Buemi looking to go around the outside of Max Verstappen there, coming down into turn 1, and Verstappen trying to get around the outside now, one in the Ferrari trying to hold it right around the outside. Can the Dutchman keep up the inside? No, he can't. Gets a poor exit there around the outside and loses quite a bit of time there to the back of the two Ferraris. Now moving on to the end of that lap, you see the two Ferraris now pull quite a bit of a gap now to Max Verstappen. He's now coming under pressure now from our teammate Sebastian Buemi, then ourselves and Daniel Kvyat just waiting behind in case anything happens with us three. I mean, with us three being this close together and how hard we're fighting Red Bull in the championship, it won't be difficult to expect. It's something that does go wrong with one of us four at least. Again, right behind Sebastian Buemi, because Buemi, of course, we have the straight line speed advantage over the Red Bulls, but on the corner exits, the Red Bulls just have such better downforce, better chassis at this point in the season, that through the corners they're just pulling away from us with their extra traction and a bit of extra downforce to get very close to the wall there. That's something everyone wants to do. All it takes is one tap of the wall to get a puncture, which we've seen a few times. Remember back to Fernando Alonso in 2005, they just brushed the wall, got a puncture, and then lost the race to one of the McLarens, I think it was. And now, hopefully, me and Buemi can try and build a gap to Daniel Kvyat, Lawrence Stroll, and pretty much the rest of the grid, which is stuck behind us, and try and reel in Max Verstappen, maybe even the two Ferraris and the two Mercedes if they start battling. I mean, we've got a straight line speed advantage over them, we've got an obvious aero disadvantage, but less aero equals more straight line speed, and we know how good straight line speed worked for us last season, taking the championships quite convincingly in the end. Now, Sienna gaining in slipstream once again on the back of Sebastian Buemi, now coming up into the hairpin, who close to try and make a move, just a bit too far back there. But Buemi this time manages to get round the hairpin, so all looks to be fixed there with the Williams. And hopefully we can try and use the slipstream now to try and pull away from Daniel Kvyat. Kvyat, see the proximity right behind us. So Daniel Kvyat is keeping right with us there. Actually pulled away now quite a bit there from Lawrence Stroll now. Now getting on the back now, Sebastian Buemi can make a move now coming up into final chicane. Sebastian Buemi with a huge lock up there once again. He goes wide over the curbing, then comes back onto the track and he's stopped. He's taken out everyone in the Toyotas. A huge crash there. We want the Toyotas get complete traffic jam. There's the two runners slamming to the back of the Haas. And so now we're up into P6, and there's a safety car deployed, and honestly I'm not really surprised. A huge traffic jam there in the final chicane. What happened there to Sebastian Buemi? He went wide and then just completely stopped. So taking a look at a replay of what happened from Sebastian Buemi's perspective. He says going around the outside there, the huge lock up there, tries to make the corner but can't, and it hops over the curb, and his car just stopped and it gets a huge smack there from one of the Toyotas. I imagine that might be Buemi out the race there with radiator damage, or something in the side pod must be completely wrecked there from that. Now this is actually Lewis Hamilton there, the Toyota that makes contact, I think. Now they're making a move here on Lawrence Stroll. It's a good run there on the Canadian, makes a move there to the inside of Lawrence Stroll. The current fan chicane, Sebastian Buemi just stops him to the track, and Hamilton with nowhere to go because Stroll still would have been there on his inside. So really unfortunate move there from the 2008 World Champion, the one time to not make an overtake. Now looking further back now at the two runners who got stuck right behind, and so another look at the traffic jam. You see there, Stroll just manages to get through, and then a huge traffic jam of cars further behind. Now cutting a bit further onto the end of that lap, the team actually called us in there to make a pit stop under the safety car. We were going into another set of the ultra soft tyres. So we converted this race from a one stop to a two, because the team have seen enough of a gap to bring us out in the thing that staying out longer on another set of ultras will give us enough time versus all the people making a one stop in this race. But it's going to drop us quite a way down the order. You see there's one of the McLarens going through turn one there, and coming out just in front there. One of the McLarens, are we just behind, going to be side by side there with that McLaren? Did we manage to get in front of them before we come out the pits? And like, no, we have to get that position back there to that McLaren just to be Haryanto. So we just come out there behind Haryanto. A bit further on now, we come back onto the restart now of the Canadian Grand Prix. We're all over the back now of Rio Haryanto. We're coming into turn one, we're just a bit too far back behind that McLaren to make anything of it. And this is going to be hopefully an easy move on Rio Haryanto. I mean, the McLaren just have amazing chassis and aerodynamics, and you can always say a slower car will do better through the corners. But when we get to a straight, you just see the difference in speed between our BMW M Sport engine versus the Milgen Honda in the back of this McLaren. As you'll bunch up here behind the slower cars, behind the two Sabres, we've got Adrian Sutter there, of course, leading this queue of cars. Once again, we just get a poor exit off that chicane once again. There's something we really need to work on in this race. You see, we're losing time here to make a move there up the inside of Rio Haryanto, get very close there to the back of Rio Haryanto there, on the him through the corner, takes the compromise line. Now we can gain it in slowly. Now we're going to pull around to the outside now of Rio Haryanto, now coming up to the head and can make a move stick around the outside. Now Haryanto there can keep his nose in up the inside, side by side with the Indonesian driver. They're going to be slow aside on corner exit. I think we just have the best traction there on the racing line. And we do manage to make the move there on Rio Haryanto. You can see how much we're already pulling away there from the Indonesian in that McLaren Honda. It's got no straight line speed whatsoever. And now the next car for us to try and catch is currently Antonio Giovinazzi. He's having a good race there for Sauber. You see our teammates in the pit, so Sebastian Buemi has obviously had to pit, maybe just the team checking for damage. So now that's going to put Giovinazzi currently in a points paying position there. You can see in the top left, we're currently in P9 if P20, so that means Giovinazzi is currently in P8 and could be on for very good points. He gets a poor exit there around turn 1, getting a complete slide on. We know that Sauber hasn't got much in the way of downforce, and when you try and floor the throttle, it's going to slide everywhere, which really doesn't do his tyres any favours. But when you're battling the fastest car in a straight line for your position, you've got to do everything you can to defend. And that doesn't mean we're going on the brakes very early, because of course Giovinazzi have to brake a lot earlier than what we do. We've got more downforce to slow our car down than what that Sauber has. But of course the Sauber with less downforce is going to be really fast in a straight line because it's effectively a low drag car. Now we're getting a good run on the back now of Giovinazzi. Going to make the move now to the outside, no good to the inside this time of Giovinazzi, coming into the hairpin. Going to be side by side now with the young Italian, and a huge lock up there from Giovinazzi, of course, trying everything to defend from ourselves, but there's not really much point in with so much of a faster car. He should just really focus on trying to keep ahead there of the two McLarens. Now we switch to the outside now. Giovinazzi going to be drag race now down into the final chicane. Should be a drag race that we should easily win, of course, with the DRS as well, because we're behind Giovinazzi at the detection point. And now we make the move on Giovinazzi. So now Giovinazzi, for his sake, can try and stick with us now in the slipstream, try and pull away there from the two McLarens who now close up right behind, and now we can try and chase down the lead of the Toro Rosso, which is currently Pierre Gasly after starting last in the Grand Prix. And Gasly now is currently in a P7 position there, so an amazing start to the Grand Prix there for Pierre Gasly, making up currently what is 13 positions in 12 laps. He's made over 1 position a lap as it stands so far. They're coming up through here. Alonso going to try and make a move even before the chicane. They're going up into the second of the chicanes. Bit of a lock up there from Harriento, of course, just trying to find any bit of pace by braking late. Anything that you can do to try and keep in front here of Fernando Alonso, but it's not going to be much evidence. See Alonso down the pulls to the inside now of Harriento. Going to make an identical move on Harriento to what he did on Carmen Jordan. Harriento just to hold it around the outside, and once again, Fernando Alonso just drives right around the outside of the McLaren driver. So in 2 laps, Fernando has made the same move on both the McLarens. But now Harriento will have slipstream and DRS to try and possibly come back at Fernando Alonso. I mean, they're both on soft tyres, so there shouldn't be any tyre advantage between the two of them. We see there Fernando Alonso already pulling away significantly there from Harriento. See there, despite Harriento having DRS open, there's just absolutely nothing he can do to try and keep up with Fernando Alonso. And Fernando Alonso really is already over a second clear. And they're cutting a bit further onto us. We've now caught onto the back now of Max Verstappen. And going to go right round the inside of Max Verstappen. Just breeze past the Cosworth power with Red Bull like it's not even there in the straight line. So we know Cosworth brought a redesigned turbo. As we know, they're working down the power in this race. And they're pretty much just proving how much our BMW upgrades are working now to get up to P2. Can we even try and chase down Pascal Wehrlein? He's currently on the verge to possibly take his debut victory in Formula 1 at Canada track, where he's done well at last year as well, taking 10th place there in the line. They're cutting onto the final lap of the Grand Prix. We've not managed to catch up to Pascal Wehrlein. Now Wehrlein coming down the final straight, coming up to the finish line. Now Pascal Wehrlein is going to take his debut victory in Formula 1 at arguably his best track on the calendar, the Canadian Grand Prix. And we're going to come home there for a very, very good P2 with Max Verstappen there running off the podium for 3rd for Red Bull. There you can see Toto Wolff looking honestly very ecstatic there with Pascal Wehrlein's driving honestly Y1T. Now Pascal Wehrlein taking his debut victory in Formula 1. And also, he's the first non-Ferrari winner of the season, so is this where Mercedes stamp their championship charge? See, one mistake, one letdown there from Ferrari, and Mercedes are right there to pick up the pieces, with Sebastian Vettel honestly nowhere in this Grand Prix either. Formula 1 returns to Baku for the second running of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, coming off the back of yet another very busy weekend for the F1 stewards, with the result of Sebastian Buemi's incident the following race and sparked huge controversy with the outcome of the result. But before anything was announced, Mugen Hondo was straight out to test their new turbo upgrade in both McLarens of Carmen Jordan and Rio Harriento in FP1. Mercedes, after taking their first victory of the 2017 season, bring a new low drag rear wing in hopes of maximising straight line speed to make up for the slight power deficit they have to Ferrari. Williams made the shock announcement that Robbie Kubica is to race for the Williams team for the remainder of the season, as Sebastian Buemi has now been dropped by the British outfit. This means that Mick Schumacher makes his Formula 1 debut after finishing a respectable 12th overall in the European Formula 3 season. Now it's a big step up to follow in his father's footsteps in Formula 1. Toyota also announced that Kamui Kobayashi will race as a second driver for Toyota alongside Lewis Hamilton for the remainder of the season, after taking Toyota's best result over P5 at Canada and their best result since their return to Formula 1. The first time this season, it will be a Mercedes front row lockout, with Fernando Alonso taking pole position from Pascal Wehrlein by over 3.5 tenths of a second. Five-time world champion Sebastian Vettel will line up in P3, with Josh Tirowee equalling his best qualifying of the season to line up in 4th. Jean-Nic Vergne only did one run in Q3 to save a set of tyres and only lines up 5th on the grid. with Max Verstappen maximising the pace from his Cosworth-powered Red Bull to line up in 6th. And only his second qualifying back in Formula 1, Kamui Kobayashi out-qualifies the 2008 World Champion Lewis Hamilton to create an all-Toyota 4th row. Robbie Kubica, in his first race back in a front-running car, lines up in 9th, with Daniel Kvyat rounding off the top 10 in the second of the Red Bulls. Lance Stroll starts from 11th as the lead Haas, with Pierre Gasly completing the 6th row of the grid as the lead of the Toro Rossos. It would be an all Renault row 7, with Nico Hülkenberg getting the better of Daniel Ricciardo by just 0.02 of a second to line up in 13th. Mick Schumacher on his first ever qualifying session lines up in 15th, with Carlos Sainz back following his one race ban and lines up only in 16th position. Giovinazzi gets the better of both of the McLarens to line up in 17th, with Rui Harianto once again the lead of the McLarens, starting from 18th. Adrian Suttle starts from 19th, and Carmen Jorda rounds off the back of the grid in the second of the McLarens. Now lining back up on the grid, starting in P4, so equaling our best qualifying grid of the season, got Jean-Eric Vergne behind us. I know that Ferrari is a faster car in general, but we have the more straight line speed, and Vergne only did one run in Q3, so he's got a fresh set of super soft tyres for the race, because you only use the free set that you get in Q3, so Vergne really could be a threat coming into the race. Now waiting for the back cars now to line up on start of the grid, and we can come now to the 5 red lights for the start of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go. We actually get a pretty okay start there. Everyone's just driving their way down the turn. We go 3 wide now with the 2 Ferraris. We go 3 wide into tail one. We just have to back out there and just haven't quite got our nose far enough alongside there to make a move there up the inside. You've got the 2 Mercedes going side by side up in front, and then got 2 Ferraris side by side further behind as well. So one of the Toyotas there into the wall. There's no big stuff there. Maybe they have some sort of damage. You know, the 2 Mercedes already pulling away from front now. Again, it's the 2 Ferraris. We go right up behind the back now. Although Ferrari got Max Verstappen right behind us. Then we got, I think that's Lewis Hamilton there with no front wing after the contact there with the Red Bull of Max Verstappen. So terrible start to the race there for Lewis Hamilton, the 2008 World Champion. That's to trundle around back to the pits now, surely for a front wing change. See there, basically he's got a plank. He's got less downforce on that front wing than HRT had back in 2012. And so Hamilton's definitely going to need to pit at the end of this lap. Now coming up now to the end of the first sector, pretty long first sector in this Grand Prix. You've got Max Verstappen looking very racy behind us, of course the Red Bull much better through the corners than what this Williams is, but the Williams is so much superior in terms of straight line space. They can keep ahead of Verstappen through here, because through this castle section here there's really no overtaking opportunities. So Verstappen maybe faster through the corners, and probably is faster through the corners, but there's nothing he can do about it to try and get past us. So now you just literally now try and keep up with the back now of Sebastian Vettel. So Vergne has made up 2 positions after the start, getting up already into a podium position. So looks like Vergne's strategy could work out pretty well here, saving that extra set of super soft tyres. I mean, albeit with the little tyre wear there is this season, having 3 laps less on your tyres won't make too much of a difference, but still, any advantage you can get with how close Mercedes and Ferrari are on outright pace, although Ferrari have pretty much dominated this season so far. Now we're gaining in the station now on the back of Sebastian Vettel. Getting in the station with crest track move, coming to turn 1, get boxed in behind it. Not quite enough there to make a move. There's Verstappen up the inside now, out of nowhere. Great move there from the Dutchman. Keep side by side with Verstappen. Verstappen gets us cleanly up the inside, so we get boxed in there behind Sebastian Vettel and Max Verstappen. Despite us having the superior engine power, Verstappen must have had that Cosworth engine turned up to 11 there to try and make a move. Now is he trying to chase down Sebastian Vettel coming up now into turn 3? Is Verstappen close enough to try and make a move on the back? Or Sebastian Vettel coming up to the braking zone? He's not quite close enough there. A bit of a lock up there from Sebastian Vettel, but we get right up back behind Max Verstappen, of course, with our superior straight line speed. I mean, these engines are both to the spec of what we had last race, and we still how easily remember last race how easily we breezed past Max Verstappen. So Verstappen must have that engine turned up to 11. You see how much we've already pulled away there from Kobayashi. And now this guy behind us for all the time that he lost stuck behind Hamilton when Hamilton was trundling his way back round to the pits. But still, the straight line speed is what they're heavily reliant on, much like we were back in season 3 in the Williams. So we took the championship with a car that's fast in a straight line. Now it's Pascal Wehrlein puts up the fast lap of the Grand Prix. Vettel then makes a move to the inside there of the Haas, but now it's time for us to come in for our second pistol now. From the Haas into the wall there, smacked us into the wall there, chopped off a bit of our front wing. A crash there in the pit lane between ourselves and whichever of the Haases that was. I couldn't quite see which Haas that was, but still, disaster in the pit lane there between ourselves and the Williams B team. The BMW B team is going to a set there of soft tyres, but now we've actually been held for the safety car. We've been held in the pit lane for Bert Mailander, and that's not something I thought I'd say. And the safety car brought out, imagine that's for the debris in the pit lane, of course, because you don't want marshals running into the pit lane. Pretty much, it's a blind pit lane entry, so I imagine they'll bring everyone in there. Imagine the pit lane will be closed, but now we've got to try and fill out the car for a lap to see if we need to come back in to change our front wing. You saw Williams there, didn't change our front wing, so they've got to do this lap to see if we do need a front wing change. Unfortunately, cutting onto the end of that lap, we have to come back into the pits now for a front wing change. We've seen quite a fair chunk of our front wing did get lopped off there in that crash there with the Haas. Didn't quite see which one it was though. So coming into our pit box for our front wing change. Let's get into another set of soft tyres there to take us to the end of the Grand Prix, because that 1 lap difference, there wasn't enough time, and there's too many laps left to go on to another set of supers. And it's actually Mick Schumacher whose front wing we lopped off, and he lopped ours off as well, so disaster debut race there for Mick Schumacher. I mean, he finished 12th in the European Formula 3, so still got quite a way to go to improve his talents to try and match what his father achieved in Formula 1. Now getting a good run on the back of Kobayashi, but coming up through the second sector, we're just not quite close enough to the back of Kobayashi to make anything of it. Now coming down into the final sector again, quite close behind Kobayashi once again, but this time we're a lot closer to Kobayashi, so this time with DRS, as literally we should be able to make a move past Kobayashi, going down into the tail one. We're getting Kobayashi there, once again pulling away from us slightly through the high speed chicane, but now coming down into turn one, surely he's got no defense this time from us, and go to the outside once again. But Kobayashi again, so side, squeezes there into the wall, getting very close to the two of us, but we do make the move there on Kobayashi. Go down to turn one, Kobayashi can try to fire back up the inside, and Kobayashi, thankfully for us, doesn't try to dive bomb back up the inside and move ahead there of Kobayashi. Now can try and take down the lead of the Renaults there, which is currently Nico Hülkenberg. And now coming down into the final sector now on lap 25, which you could purple there through the second sector, so finding some good time despite being on quite old tyres at this point in the race, and hopefully we should be able to make an easy move on the Renault of Nico Hülkenberg, because despite Hülkenberg's best efforts, that Renault just hasn't got the straight line speed to keep in front of us. But now we'll have DRS now on the back on Nico Hülkenberg. They're gaining quite a bit in the DRS. Has Hülkenberg got any defence way down to turn one? Going to be side by side now with me and Nico Hülkenberg. Hülkenberg trying to hold it right around the outside there. Can be side by side now coming up into turn 2. Hülkenberg trying to hold it right around the outside. Can be side by side now coming into turn 3. Hülkenberg goes straight on there with a huge lock up there, and that allows us just to breeze past Nico Hülkenberg. Now that could put Hülkenberg under pressure now from Kamui Kobayashi now on the final lap of the Grand Prix. But coming down to turn 3, Kobayashi there just isn't close enough there to try and make a move coming up the inside. But now looking up front, we've got Jean-Eric Vergne leading the Grand Prix, probably using that extra set of super soft tyres to his advantage, but I see you've got Sebastian Vettel there right behind him. There's going to be yet another Ferrari 1-2 in this season. Vergne only got one sector left to go to keep it in front there of Sebastian Vettel to take what will be his 5th victory of the season out of 8 races. Now coming up through the first sector now, we've got high speed chicane left to go. If he gets this right, he should be alright down to the end of the Grand Prix. And then there to get through the high speed chicane will find now they've only got one straight left to go. Unless his engine blows, he should be alright here for the race victory. Now coming up to the finish line, and Jean-Eric Vergne is going to win the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Actually, it was Sebastian Vettel. I don't know who's won the Grand Prix. I know it's a Ferrari 1-2, but I don't know who's just won the Grand Prix. I don't know how close the finish line was there. And Vettel there breezing past, but I don't know who actually won the Grand Prix. Looking at replay of who actually just won the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. See the Vettel gaining in slipstream, coming up side by side now with Jean-Eric Vergne. And there's the finish line. And then Sebastian Vettel got it. Sebastian Vettel wins the Azerbaijan Grand Prix by about 10 centimetres there from Jean-Eric Vergne. That is the closest victory in Formula 1 history. Yeah, everybody looking very happy with... I don't know if he knows who's won the Grand Prix yet. But Sebastian Vettel there wins the Grand Prix, takes his 47th career victory, and that is the closest finish between first and second in Formula 1 history. I thought between me and Buemi last season that Monza would take some beating, and Ferrari go and prove us wrong by taking what undoubtedly will be the closest finish in F1 history for a long time to come. Formula 1 returns to the Red Bull Ring in Austria for round 9 of the 2017 season, and there was big news coming out with both of the Williams and the Toyota garages. Williams confirmed an all-new B-spec car for the second half of the season, which will feature a redesigned BMW power unit and revised chassis and aerodynamics, in hopes that Josh Tirowee can defend his championship title and Williams can get somewhere close to defending their constructors title. Toyota also confirmed a B-spec car for the second half of the season, which will run their all-new bespoke Toyota power unit, with the Japanese team confident they can take a podium finish from Belgium onwards. Mercedes also confirmed their 2 drivers for next season, and it came as little surprise to anyone that both Fernando Alonso and Pascal Wehrlein will stay on at the Brackley-based team for 2018. Fernando Alonso will take pole position for the Austrian Grand Prix, with Jean-Eric Vergne, the championship leader, completing the front row. Sebastian Vettel will start from P3, getting the better of Pascal Wehrlein by only 0.02 of a second, and Wehrlein has to settle for P4. The Red Bulls could only manage 5th and 6th at the home Grand Prix, with Daniel Kvyat getting the better of teammate Max Verstappen. Robert Kubica will start as the lead of the Williams from 7th, with Lewis Hamilton the lead of the Toyotas, starting from 8th. Hamilton's teammate Kamui Kobayashi will start from 9th, with defending world champion Josh Tirowee only managing 10th place in qualifying. It will be an all Haas row 6, with Lance Stroll getting the better of new teammate Mick Schumacher by just under 2.5 tenths of a second. For the second race in a row, it will be an all Renault row 7, with once again Nico Hülkenberg getting the better of Daniel Ricciardo in qualifying. Continuing the Noah's Ark theme, will be an all Toro Rosso row 8, with Pierre Gasly getting the better of Carlos Sainz by just under 0.02 of a second. Rio Haryanto would better Antonio Giovinazzi this time out to line up in 17th, with the young Italian having to settle for 18th on the grid. Adrian Sutil starts from 19th, and Carmen Jorda rounds off the back of the grid for McLaren. But now cutting back onto us, starting from P10. The 20th, it's been a while since we started legitimately this far down the grid. Remember back to Spain, we did start from 11th then, but that was because of a grid penalty, so we did qualify 6th there, but this time, starting from 10th, we've got the 2 Hasses there right up behind us, so our B team, in fact, looked to be like they could do better than the top team Williams. Now I have to wait now to the 5 red lights. Now coming to the 5 red lights for the start of the Austrian Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go. Can we get a good start this time? It's like the guy in front of us to get a pretty poor start there. So that's looks like Lewis Hamilton there. So it's going side by side. Turn 1 trying to make the move up the inside of Lewis Hamilton. Going to Turn 1 and try to make the move there up the inside of the 2008 World Champion. But Hamilton down the racing line gets some momentum around the outside. Now we've got Lance Stroll going side by side with us now, trying to hold it up inside. It's going to be a drag race now up into Turn 2. Now the Haas will be faster in a straight line, but we're on the grippy tyres. He's there, Stroll on the super soft tyres. And Stroll has to tuck back in line behind us, so we maintain position into P10. Now coming on now to 10, we got a huge dive bomb there for one of the Toro Rossos, making him about 6-7 positions there, so really brave move there from whichever top of the Toro Rossos that was. Now back to us, we are still in P10. Got Lewis Hamilton in front of us and Stroll just behind us. And you see the cars in front of us are already slowly starting to pull away from us, so that's like the Toyotas with that who have now confirmed a Toyota engine for the second half of the season, so from Belgium onwards. So they've only got a few races left to go with the AMG power, so it'll be interesting to see how Toyota fare in a straight line when they bring their own bespoke power unit. Because we know that AMG power unit is one of the best on the grid, so in a straight line currently it's still going to be one of the fastest cars to deal with. And it's really going to be a headache there for the Red Bull in between. They've got Kamui Kobayashi actually going in front there of one of the Red Bulls, so you see that in front, the other Red Bull already pulling away significantly into the distance, so we know that the Toyotas still do lack a bit of downforce on their cars, and we know the Red Bulls are lacking in a straight line, so it pretty much evens themselves out between the two of them. Now coming down to Turn 1, Verstappen isn't close enough to make a move, and now you have the slipstream on the back of Kamui Kobayashi. And now coming up into Turn 2, will Verstappen be close enough to try and make a move with his toes, can try and dive from up the inside? No, he has to steer behind Kobayashi there. Because Kobayashi, with that superior engine power, is just able to pull away in a straight line. Now, with DRS, is Verstappen gaining his time, and Verstappen finally is gaining on the back of Kamui Kobayashi coming into Turn 1, going to try and make a move? No, he's just a bit too far back once again, so he must have turned the engine up now to try and make a move, to be challenging the back of an AMG powered car. Yeah, coming up with a slipstream now into turn 2. Verstappen going to try and make a dive, but these guys are going to pull to the inside now. Of Kobayashi and Hamilton look to make it 3 wide coming up to the break zone. Going to be the last of the late breakers between the 3 of them. Kobayashi on the outside, Hamilton on the inside. Kobayashi gets squeezed out on the other side. Now we're going side by side now with Kobayashi. Kobayashi could lose 3 positions in one corner. It's going to be a drag race now down into turn 4 between myself and Kobayashi. He made the move stick there around the outside of Kobayashi, so terrible piece of luck there for Kamui Kobayashi, losing 3 positions in one corner straight, but Verstappen there has kept it in front now of Lewis Hamilton. Now Hamilton, how fast he can be with any car he's driven. Now Hamilton unleashed to try and attack Max Verstappen before he pulls away too far into the distance. We know that the Toyota is faster in a straight line, but the Red Bull with superior aero and chassis should be able to pull away through the corner. See Verstappen there is already pulling away from Lewis Hamilton now through the corner. Coming up into the final 2 corners. Is Hamilton close enough to try and make a move back on the inside? He's going to have to stick with him here to try and make a move with DRS. See Verstappen though already pulling away significantly from Lewis Hamilton, but now Hamilton will have DRS to try and make a move. You see there, Verstappen's still pulling away despite the power unit advantage being with the Toyotas. The aero advantage that Red Bull has is just too much for the Toyotas to be able to live with. Now coming all the way to lap 10, so it took a while, but Verstappen has finally got past Kobayashi. Now coming up into turn 2, we're still keeping pretty close here to Lewis Hamilton, so now hopefully Hamilton, we can try and make a move on the back of Lewis Hamilton pretty soon, because it won't be too long, I'd think, until he falls out of DRS range on the back of Max Verstappen in front. So now coming down the first of the DRS straights, there's nothing we can do here with Verstappen. With literally we get a bit wide on the curb to take out one of the braking boards, so oopsie. That's pretty much going to affect us now for the rest of the race, and well, this is going to affect everyone else as well. It's not just going to affect us by taking out one of the braking boards, and there's the VSC deployed as Pascal Wehrlein's out of the Grand Prix. The last time race winner Pascal Wehrlein out of the Grand Prix. You see they're pulled off there to the inside, so surely this must be some kind of mechanical issue. Now we've got a VSC deployed for that. But terrible luck there for Pascal Wehrlein. Battling there with Sebastian Vettel. We know that AMG's reliability hasn't been the greatest this season, mainly with Fernando Alonso pretty much DNFing every 2 races. Now this time it looks like the bad luck has now gone into Pascal Wehrlein. Looking at replay of what happened to the unchained, you see he's actually got past Sebastian Vettel, so he doesn't have a crash with Sebastian Vettel, I wouldn't think anyway. And now coming in now through the second sector, what happens here to Sebastian Vettel? There's an engine failure, something's smoking away there at the back of his car, and there just pulls off through the gravel trap onto the escape road. Pretty much the only place he can go there, so unfortunately there for Pascal Wehrlein has had to retire from the Grand Prix. But now once again we have the DRS now on the back of Nico Hülkenberg coming up into turn 2, but Hülkenberg there. Some pretty good straight line speeds. It's actually enough to keep ahead of us there. Now just come up now instead of get very close once again to the back of Nico Hülkenberg, just to avoid contact there with the back of the German. But now Hülkenberg will have DRS on the back now of his teammate Daniel Ricciardo coming down into turn 3. So Hülkenberg close to try and make a move on the back of Daniel Ricciardo coming on the inside. Ricciardo there defends to the inside slightly, and Hülkenberg just has to stick behind Daniel Ricciardo. And of course the more we fight, the more this is going to allow Kobayashi and Hamilton of course catch up to us. Now let's see, we're looking all over the back now of Nico Hülkenberg, but there's just no way we can get past him. And seeing we've got such fresher tyres, such better downforce, but through the second sector there's just nothing we can do with it. Try and make a move on the back of Nico Hülkenberg. Now Hülkenberg will have the slipstream once again on the back now of Daniel Ricciardo coming up. Now the final corner, Hülkenberg going to make a move to the inside now. Daniel Ricciardo going to be side by side with the 2 runners coming around the final few corners. With Ricciardo there on the racing line, just able to hold it round the outside there of Nico Hülkenberg. Now Hülkenberg once again will have DRS now to try and make a move on Daniel Ricciardo. This is gaining quite a bit of the slipstream. He's going to pull to the inside now of Daniel Ricciardo coming up now into tail 1. Can Hülkenberg make the move quickly as I can? Ricciardo hold it around the outside once again. Going to be side by side now corner racing, but Hülkenberg there forces his way past his Australian teammate. Now can Ricciardo come back with the slipstream on the back now of Nico Hülkenberg? We see Hülkenberg already pulling away. Now we can check around the outside now of Daniel Ricciardo coming into the break zone. We're side by side with Daniel Ricciardo. Ricciardo trying to hold it up the inside. We'll hold it around the outside on the racing line with our fresher tyres, and he'll make the move around the outside there of Daniel Ricciardo. But now Ricciardo will have DRS still to try and defend now from Kamui Kobayashi. Behind us, we know how fast Kobayashi's Toyota will be in a straight line. Coming down now into the braking zone. Once again, we're going to be wide there. Let's say we take up one of the other braking boards. So now we can try and pull away now from Daniel Ricciardo and try and catch onto the back now of Nico Hülkenberg. See, Hülkenberg started the race on that set of tyres, so Hülkenberg's now done 19 laps on that set of soft tyres, so his tyres are going to be pretty much shot at this point now. So now we have easily so much we gained in already in one, not even one sector, how much we're gaining on the back of Nico Hülkenberg. Now coming down to the final few corners, we have to stay behind Hülkenberg through here, try and get a good run out of the final corner, try and make a move on Hülkenberg coming down into turn 1. We have DRS now on the back of the German, and now coming down into turn 1, I'll be close to try and make a move on the back of Hülkenberg. Once again, Hülkenberg not really gaining on the back of Hülkenberg coming to turn 1. Hülkenberg there with some brilliant top end speed for a runner, so They must be running a really low drag setup on that car. And now coming down to turn once again with the slipstream gaining on the back of Nico Hulkenberg, coming up now into turn 2, trying to come over this time. We set our best first sector of the race, go green there through this first sector, but that's surprising with how much slipstream we're getting on the back of Nico Hulkenberg. Now once again with DRS, going to try and make a move down to turn 3. So Hulkenberg really is doing a good job of holding us up in this race. That's really going to allow Kobayashi behind us to try and catch up in the not too distant future. Now Hulkenberg there with a huge lock up. We're just not able to make anything of it there. And now coming up now through this sector, once again we're just going to stick behind Nico Hulkenberg coming up through this sector. He's going to try and make it side by side, try and look for a right where the other side. Hulkenberg once again just defends brilliantly there once again. This is just costing us so much time, the two of us now, costing me because we're stuck behind a Renault. So yeah, we lose over a second there in that one sector with how slow Hulkenberg's going. Now it's Hulkenberg defends to the inside now, going to find a few corners. We have to go around the outside there. Hulkenberg can be side by side now with Nico Hulkenberg. Actually, Hulkenberg's coming into the pits there. Now Hulkenberg coming in for what should be his one and only stop of the Grand Prix to go onto a set of the ultra soft tyres. Well, I would think so. He's pretty much doing the opposite strategy to what everyone starting in the top 10 did, going to a set of soft, starting instead of ultras, going to a set of soft. So Hulkenberg starting on the soft should be going to a set of ultra soft now. And then coming into his pit box, actually going to a set of the super soft tyres. So Hulkenberg clearly feels he can't take a set of ultra softs to the end of the Grand Prix. I mean, running a low drag setup with less downforce, it will scrub the tyres more and use more of the tyres up quickly. But now moving on to lap 23, we've got yellow flags up in front of us. Now coming up here, anything happening? There's a Ferrari off the track. We're going to lose the back end completely there. Obviously now expecting Sebastian Vettel there to be on the side of the track. Now Vettel's stuck on the exit there of turn 2. Now I can say, I see that's karma for ramming me off there into turn 2 back in the Lotus days in 2015. So Vettel getting his karma now, stuck off where he rammed us off. Actually, don't know what's wrong with this guy. His car looks rather wonky. So has he got a suspension failure? I mean, why is he... Well, he's got back on the track at least. So no, it's just stopped in the middle of the track. There's something wrong with the back of that car. Has he got a puncture or something? You see there, the front right wheel's up in the air, so something is clearly wrong with that Ferrari. You see there, that wheel's not even on the ground. And you just swerve there in front of Fernando Alonso, the race leader, has now come up to put Sebastian Vettel a lap down. Looks like he's got a puncture there. Now because one of the Saubers going up behind, he pulls to the inside there, lets the Sauber go past. Now coming up down into the brake zone, can Vettel actually get stunned? He's going really fast in the brake zone, he's not going to stop this, he goes off into the gravel trap once again. Can he get Ferrari out of the gravel trap this time? It's going to be very slow rejoining, but now Vettel does get out of the gravel trap. Now moving on to that lap, we're coming to pits now with Williams anticipating a safety car, so they're calling us in early now for our final stop to go into a set of the super soft tyres to take us to the end of the race. Honestly, with what Sebastian Vettel's doing, honestly I wouldn't be surprised if there is a safety car to come in this race. So Williams grabbing the initiative for once, pokes to a set of the super soft tyres now can go to the end of the group. This is also going to give us an undercut on all the cars around us as well. It just depends, have we done enough to keep ahead of Nico Hulkenberg when we come down to turn 1. Now here comes Nico Hulkenberg coming down now into turn 1. It's going to be pretty touch and go, that's where we're getting from there. Of the German, now Hulkenberg there actually with a Fieldhouse undergas now managed to get past us once again. Now we're trying to chase down Nico Hulkenberg now in the Renault and looking at Sebastian Vettel. Now found himself in another gravel trap. It's going to be a Ferrari disaster this race. Now he's going to get back on the track this time. And now Vettel just does manage to get back on the track. Thankfully there's no one else coming up behind him to try and punt him off further. Now he's got pretty much one sector left to go for to make it back to the pit lane. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Ferrari retiring when he comes into the pit lane. He's already a lap down behind the two Saubers. There's no way he's catching back up now. Going now into the pit lane, Sebastian Vettel coming to the pit lane. Once again, he just goes too high into the corner, runs completely wide. Thankfully there's no one else coming. And Vettel there just about manages to get into the pit lane and once again runs wide with that puncture. And now he's made it thankfully into the pit lane, so hopefully he gets stopped there for the braking balls so it doesn't get done for speeding in the pit lane. Coming in there with the tyres flapping away, so Ferrari once again changing the wheels, pretty much just habit. And they're actually going to send Vettel back out. Why have they sent Vettel back out? Surely they should just save the mileage on the engine. He's already a lap down. Maybe even 2 laps down by this point now, so the race is effectively over for Sebastian Vettel, so why not just save the mileage on the engine? But no, Vettel, they're sending back out, so don't really know why Ferrari have done that. I'm looking back where we are, coming up now into turn 2, Vettel coming on to turn 2 behind us, so we've lapped Sebastian Vettel. Vettel's a lap down, at least 1 lap down now to the top 10. There's still right on the backs there of Mick Schumacher, but now we'll have DRS and slipstream coming up now. We're getting onto the back straight, but now just with the slow shoe now on the back of Carlos Sainz now coming up into turn 2. So strong again to move to the inside there of Mick Schumacher up in front. And Schumacher try and hold it around the outside. Going to be side by side with the two Hassies. with our B team cars, and it's going to be side by side with the two of them. Now Stroll will have DRS now, try and make the move on Mick Schumacher, come down to 30, going to be side by side there, and Stroll managed to make the move right there on Mick Schumacher to make the move up there into what I think is P5. And now Schumacher surely has to run as the rear gunner now to try and keep Carlos Sainz, all of us behind at bay. But now coming through the second sector, you can see Sainz all over the back there of Schumacher. See, Schumacher was getting really slow in a straight line. So is there a problem with Schumacher's car as well? Surely that's to be a problem with Schumacher's car. See how slow he's going in a straight line. Now Sainz going to pull to the inside now. Off Mick Schumacher coming up now into the final few corners. We try to make a move off this side. Schumacher could lose 2 positions here in one corner and make a mistake on the inside Schumacher. Schumacher runs out wide now. Here goes Nico Hulkenberg in the red to try and make a move on Mick Schumacher as well as Schumacher just losing so much in a straight line. Now Hulkenberg trying to make a move upside now into turn 1. And Schumacher there just loses 4 positions in 1 lap. Just surely there is something wrong with that car. Now Fernando Alonso in Mercedes is not too far behind, coming up to lap them now. So Schumacher's race just going from bad to worse. Surely there's something wrong with his car. Surely whatever's wrong with our car is also wrong with Schumacher's, but Schumacher has it a lot worse than what we do. Now we've only got a lap and a half left to go. Can we try and clear Carlos Sainz to try and take a P7 finish in this race? So the team are happy with where we currently are, but we can get that position off of Carlos Sainz. Coming up to turn 3, we're just too far behind the back there of Carlos Sainz to try and make a move on the back of him. Now coming up now through the second sector, we're just going to have to follow Carlos Sainz here through this final sector. Of course, we're not going to get lapped in this race, thankfully, because Fernando Alonso is already on lap 36. We're not getting the blue flag warning, so we're not going to finish this race on the lead lap. I'm not being lapped in. Now we're getting on the station now on the back of Carlos Sainz, because Sainz with that Renault power unit shouldn't be too much of a fight for us, but once again, whatever's wrong with our car, it really is affecting us straight line. Now Fernando Alonso is coming around the final few corners, and we know he's got a new contract at Mercedes for 2018. Now Fernando Alonso comes around the final corner. He's going to cross the line to win the Austrian Grand Prix in dominant fashion to take what is only his first victory of this season. Now Alonso's going to get a great view of the battle now between ourselves and Carlos Sainz here again on the street team on the back now of Carlos Sainz coming up now into turn 2. We're trying to move to the inside there of Carlos Sainz coming up now into turn 2. We're just not quite close enough there to the back of the Spaniard. Now Alonso's getting really close behind us because Alonso can't lap us now. He's finished the race. Now he's going to get a great view on this final lap of the battle between the two of us now. As he comes down actually, Alonso there really celebrating his first victory, and honestly, why wouldn't he? It's took him 9 races, but he finally got his victory. And a huge lock up there from Carlos Sainz once again. Sainz manages to get around the corner, so we can't make anything there out of that lock up. And now coming up now through the second sector, just trying to get anything to try and up around Carlos Sainz, trying to go around the outside there of Carlos Sainz, just trying to find any way past this Toro Rosso. We just can't find a way past this Toro Rosso. Now just coming up now through the second sector. There only one sector of this race left to go, and gaining insulation now on the back of Carlos Sainz. Try and make a move on the back of him. Now coming up now into the final few corners, try and make things inside, but Sainz out. There's nothing we can do. Now coming around the final corner, Sainz there, defense inside. We just blocked us off. We can't quite get our car around the outside. And coming on to the finish line, we're just going to have to settle there for a P8 finish. But what could have been in this race? Given finishing P8 there, we could have gone a lot higher, but just whatever was wrong with our car just really did hamper our progress in a straight line in the final few laps of the race. There you can see Toto Wolff looking very happy with Fernando Alonso's drive. I mean, it's been a disastrous race there for Ferraris, both of them out of the Grand Prix, so Mercedes have just gained 20 points in the championship back. On Ferrari, of course, they could have been hoping for more if Verlaine's engine didn't blow up, but Fernando Alonso taking his 37th career victory and his first victory since USA 2016, so it's been a while there for Fernando Alonso. He finally gets his name back on the winners list. Formula 1 returns to Silverstone, the home of motor racing in Great Britain, for round 10 of the 2017 season, the British Grand Prix, and with Williams now celebrating their 40th year in Formula 1, both of their drivers, Josh Tirowee and Robbie Kubica, put in a considerable amount of laps in all 3 practice sessions to get the setup perfectly correct, to secure the highest grid position they can in qualifying, and put on a strong showing for the home crowd in the race. Renault would also celebrate 40 years since their first race in Formula 1, albeit not a consistent 40 years within the sport. Williams were hopeful that Robbie Kubica and Josh Tirowee could both start within the top 6 positions to take the fight to Red Bull in the Constructors, and maybe even get somewhere close to Mercedes and Ferrari in the race if they get lucky. UniONE Honda also brings some new power unit upgrades, as expecting this will be one of McLaren's weaker tracks on the calendar, despite their aero chassis advantage over the rest of the midfield. Fernando Alonso is more determined than ever to finally get on top of his consistency throughout the season, and the two-time world champion is more determined than ever to take his second race victory in a row. The resident pole sitter for 2017, Fernando Alonso, once again starts from pole position, getting the better of Sebastian Vettel by 0.2 of a second. Jean-Eric Vergne starts from third, with Pascal Wehrlein having to settle for fourth on the grid, just under 200 slower than the Frenchman. Both the Red Bulls would lock out the third row of the grid, with once again Daniel Kvyat getting the better of Max Verstappen. It may not have been a top 6 qualifying for Williams, but Josh Tirowee will get the best out of his Williams to land in his 7th, with Lewis Hamilton lining up in 8th to complete an all-British 4th row. The two teammates would start from 9th and 10th, with Robbie Kubica starting from 9th, and Kamui Kobayashi rounding off the top 10 in the second of the Toyotas. Two drivers who are being strongly rumoured to be teammates next season, Nico Hülkenberg and Carlos Sainz, complete the 6th row of the grid for Renault and for Toro Rosso. Sainz's teammate Pierre Gasly will start from 13th, with Mick Schumacher getting the better of Lance Stroll to line up in 14th. Stroll will have to settle for 15th on the grid, with Daniel Ricciardo once again starting quite a long way down the grid, starting in 16th in the second of the Renaults. Rio Haryanto once again get the better of Giovinazzi to line up in 17th, with the young Italian having to settle for 18th on the grid. Carmen Jordan starts from 19th, and 18 Suttle will round off the back of the grid for Sauber. Now come back onto us, starting in a pretty lowly P7. Pretty much just where Williams is at. I mean, there's tracks where we're better than the Red Bulls and tracks where the Red Bulls better than us. And it's just like just with the nature of this track, despite a few long straights, just lose too much time in the corners, and the Red Bulls were just enough aerodynamically to get in front of us Williams in qualifying. But hopefully in the pace we can use our BMW power unit to our advantage. And now coming to the 5 red lights for the start of the British Grand Prix, Williams' 40th home Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go. Can we get a good start this time? Another shocking start in this season. We're defending now from this happening, and Kubica trying to look up side now. It's going to be side by side now with Robbie Kubica. Kubica keeps side by side. We could just have a slide there behind Kubica. Kubica just getting no difference. Now coming up now into turn 3, can try and make him back side of Kubica, just a bit too far back behind the pole there to make a move on him. We've got the two Toro Rossos going side by side further back, and once again we have to look to defend now from Kamui Kobayashi. In the second of the Toyotas, with Nico Hülkenberg there right up behind him now. Of course, no DRS here, now won't be able to until lap 3, so just be in the slipstream now of Robbie Kubica coming up now into the second sector. So all just snake up behind coming into the braking zone. There's pretty much nowhere through here they can really try and make an overtake on the car in front, unless you're going side by side with them, that is, into this section. Now getting very close there to the back of Robbie Kubica in the braking zone. Once again, just being a bit more daring on the brakes than Robbie Kubica at the start of this race. I mean, we out-qualified Kubica, so in theory we should have the pace over him, but race pace and qualifying pace are two considerably different things, and now Kubica will have the slipstream now on the back of Lewis Hamilton in front. Doesn't like he gets the best of run there. Now coming up now through Max to back, it's going to be side by side. We're right behind the back there of the Toyota, and Kubica just having to stick behind Lewis Hamilton here through the sector. I mean, using our air and chassis to our advantage over the Toyota. The Toyota with the lower drag does have the better straight line speed. Of course, no DRS yet for Robbie Kubica to see if he can gain in the slipstream now on the back of Lewis Hamilton enough to make a move coming up now into third sector. He's just not quite close enough coming up through the right-hander to make the move, and now coming down into the final sector now. He's going to try and dive bomb up the inside coming into the final few corners, and now Kubica just has to stick behind Lewis Hamilton there. But also we're sticking right behind him. See, we're already pulling away quite a bit there from Kamui Kobayashi behind as Fernando Alonso puts out the first lap of the Grand Prix, which is no surprise since he's actually leading the Grand Prix. Who was first across the line will always set the fastest lap. So the Sauber really just haven't got a good. They may have got 3 quarter power units, but they're not really look like any signs of challenging McLaren Honda for 9th place in the constructors at this point in the season. Now coming through Max to Beckett, so you have to stick right behind Kubica, stick right behind Sutter through this section. You get very close there at the back there of the Sauber. There's just nothing we can do. Try and get past out. Trying to let them run the outside, but Sutter there defends very well to the inside. But now we're just going to have DRS and slipstream now on the back of Adrian Sutter. There's no way Sutter's going to be able to defend from this. Then going to pull to the inside now of Adrian Sutter. Going to be side by side now coming up. Can Sutter try and hold it out right around the outside? No, just got nowhere near enough downforce on that Sauber. And Sutter just has to admit defeat. Now try and catch up now to Sutter's teammate Antonio Giovinazzi. There's got Kubica right in front of him. Looks like a bit of Sauber side actually now team one of the McLarens and one of the Toro Rossos in front as well. And then McLaren there gets a poor exit onto starting straight now. The Toro Rosso there. Up here, tries to make a move side by side now coming up now into turn 1 and now turn 2. The McLaren there on the inside line, Toro there around the outside, can Toro hold it right around the outside, coming up now into turn 4, like the Toro there off Pierre Gasly has managed to hold it around the outside there of Carmen Jorda. Then we have Robert Kubica just stuck up behind the two of them now. And now we've caught right onto the back now of Giovinazzi. Looks to be falling away a bit there from Robert Kubica in front. And now we have the DRS and slipstream on the back of Giovinazzi, but then again Giovinazzi has DRS off of Kubica in front now. Kubica there makes the move on the McLaren. There was have to stay right behind up Giovinazzi. Going up now into the second sector. And Giovinazzi on 7 meters has to go round the outside there of Giovinazzi. Going maybe round the outside of Carmen Jordan. Trying to make a double overtake right around the outside there. And two of the slowest cars in the season making the move right around the outside there. And if the crowd went wild for Hamilton's overtake on Daniel Kvyat, but they're going even more wild there for a double overtake. Now Giovinazzi's over the back there of Carmen Jordan. Just not quite close enough there to make a move on the back of the Spaniard, but now we're getting round the back now of Pierre Gasly in front of us. Actually, he made the move on Pierre Gasly. He's also getting an amazing run there into Max Verstappen, just making a move on 3 cars in the space of about 12 seconds. So, fun some electric pace on this second set of super soft tyres. Now, try and catch up now to the back of Robert Kubica, who shouldn't be too long until he comes to the pits again, really, for another stop. Because the super soft tyres may be so quick, but the problem with them being so quick is that they just wear out that much quicker. Now coming up now into the final sector of the lap. She's trying to find a few corners now. We're right up behind the back now of Robert Kubica, and surely the team would tell Kubica at this point to not hold me up, because there is a little point in Kubica holding me up, because at this point it looks like we're on completely different strategies. Kubica probably coming in for a set of medium tyres at his next stop to still try and keep it. It'd be an unorthodox 2-stop, but it'll be the 2-stop he has to do if to try and salvage any points from this race, because albeit now that he's currently in P8, add another 30 seconds on to where he should be, he's not going to be in the points he's even many about. That's the cars behind us going for the points positions, and they've all definitely got at least probably just one more stop to make in this race. So if we're going to have to put his foot down, just to gain any points from the end of this race. Now again, right up behind the back now of Kubica once again, just through that right-hander, just finding so much time on everyone else. I don't know if it's just the line we take or just our driving style, but whatever it is, we just find a load of time to do that, but then we lose quite a bit of time on the corner exit, so pretty much evens itself out. And now once again in the dirt, yeah, losing the back end a little bit there, get a bit twitchy on the rear end. The tyre's already starting to complain about going full throttle there through that left-hander. Now going now through Max Beckett, so once again just having to keep behind Kubica, gaining all the time with the slipstream, and now we'll have DRS and the slipstream now on the back of Robert Kubica. This time, are we close enough to come down the straight to try and make a move? Coming in now into the right-hander, once again gaining in the DRS, but just not gaining enough on the back of Kubica. We're still behind Kubica once again. Coming up now through the right hander. Now is Kubica coming to the pits, and indeed Kubica there does come into the pit lane. So is Kubica coming for a set of medium tyres? Surely Kubica must be going to a set of the medium tyres. It makes sense for him to go onto a set of the medium to go to the end of the race. There's no point going to a softer compound, because then he'll have to stop yet again in this race, and that's just really going to ruin any chance of Kubica scoring points. I mean, you know that Williams does have the pace over the rest of the midfield. I'm saying Williams in the midfield and saying so Kubica going to a set of super soft tyres. Williams, what are you doing, Williams? Why can't you make good strategy decisions? Kubica onto another set of the super soft tyres. Does Kubica not have any set of the medium tyres? Because surely he would have gone to a set of mediums if he had any. So you're going to come in again at a later date, going to a set of probably soft tyres to take him to the end of the race. Coming a bit further on, we're going to have Sebastian Vettel catching up to the back of one of the Red Bull. So Verstappen there with some really good pace in this race. Now he's legitimately in front there of one of the Ferraris. Now coming up now to the end of the first sector. Vettel there just catching up to the back now of the young Dutchman, who's just going to have to stay behind Verstappen now through the next corners. Now how good that Red Bull is through the corners despite their significant straight line speed deficiency. Now Vettel with the DRS now on the back of Max Verstappen coming up now into the sector, just trying to make a move on the inside. Now Verstappen there very late on the brakes, he's able to keep it in front there of Sebastian Vettel. So once again, when the Cosworth engines turned up, it's got some pretty decent straight line speed, but it just seems they haven't got enough. It just hasn't got enough when it's not running in rich mix to keep in front of the two Ferraris. They're like they just run out of power and they can't use it consistently to defend from the cars in front. Now Vettel once again just having to stick right behind the back of that Red Bull. Now coming up now into Magnus and Beckett. Vettel trying to make a move on the inside. Now once again he just has to stick behind Max Verstappen, because Vettel much more in the championship fight than what Verstappen, so doesn't want to throw anything away at this early point in the season and give Van even more an advantage than he already has. But now Vettel will have DRS now on the back of Max Verstappen, who's going to go to the inside. Coming up now into the braking zone. Can Vettel make the move on the inside of Verstappen there? Try to hold it around. That's been that much Verstappen fights with Verstappen. They try to hold it around the outside, but just hasn't got the grip on our set of medium tyres then has to concede to the 5-time world champion Sebastian Vettel, but still, Verstappen there on for a very good result for Red Bull as it stands, unless any mechanical issues fault him in the final few laps of the race. Now moving on to the end now of the final lap, and Jean-Eric Vergne was once again leading a Grand Prix. He's only got a few corners left to go, so he's just been dominant in this season so far. That, along with the Ferrari car as well, just been the dominant force of this season. And now coming around the final corner, no dramas here for Jean-Eric Vergne, and Jean-Eric Vergne goes across the line and wins the British Grand Prix in dominant style. Don't even know he's in second place, couldn't even see second place. But now coming back onto us, really got a few corners left to go there. We're in P6 of P20, so all 20 cars are still going in this race. I think that'll be the first time this season all 20 cars finish the race if it stays like this. Now coming around the final corner, and now we go very wide. The car's now turning, got on the extra turf, and he's lost the crown, spinning to the wall. We'll lop off a front wing, but thankfully there we crossed the line to get our P6 finish before something goes drastically wrong, and we smack the car into the wall. So not the way Williams want to celebrate the 40th Grand Prix, I'd imagine, but still. Going 6th place, I think the team will be happy with that. Talking of being happy, I imagine Arrivia Bene very happy with Jean-Eric Vergne once again, taking yet another victory in this season, just extending his championship lead. And Vergne really just is the dominant force in this season. And is there anything anyone can do to stop him in the second half of the season, or maybe even the next race? Formula 1 returns to Hungary after a 1-year absence, and this race is expected to play a crucial role in the outcome of the championship battle, with some teams even sacrificing this race meeting in order to test upgrades to bring for their cars for the second half of the season. Williams confirmed that both Robbie Kubica and Josh Tirowee will be running older spec car parts for this race, as BMW want to keep column 3 and column 4 free for their B-spec engine upgrades for the second half of the season. This was much the same at Toyota as well, with both Kobayashi and Lewis Hamilton running column 2 parts for their AMG power units in the final race with AMG power. The rain would come out in practice too, as bet as most race would be running in wet conditions, but if things didn't go too well for Josh Tirowee as a spin into the wall, unfortunately his car would be repaired. Now taking a look at the qualifying grid for the Hungarian Grand Prix, and Jean-Eric Vergne will take his first pole position for 2017, with Pascal Wehrlein completing the front row. Sebastian Vettel early managed 3rd on the grid, with resident pole sitter Fernando Alonso only managing 4th best in qualifying. Lewis Hamilton with an exceptional lap will line up in 5th, with Josh Tirowee the lead of the Williams starting from P6. Josh Tirowee's teammate Robbie Kubica will start from 7th, with Nico Hülkenberg with an impressive lap starting from 8th as the lead of the Renaults. Completing the top 10 will be Lance Stroll and Daniel Kvyat, who takes a 5-place grid penalty for a new power unit as Cosworth focus their upgrades now for the second half of the season. Max Verstappen also takes a 5-place grid drop due to also taking a new Cosworth power unit, and he's joined on the 6th row by Carlos Sainz as the lead of the Toro Rossos. Pierre Gasly in the second of the Toro Rosso starts from 13th, with Daniel Ricciardo in the second of the Renaults starting from 14th. The 8th row of the grid will consist of the 2 McLarens, with Rio Haryanto once again getting the better of teammate Carmen Georgia in qualifying by 0.003 of a second. Kamui Kobayashi drops 10 places due to needing a new MGU-H in Toyota's final race with AMG power, and he's joined on the 9th row by Antonio Giovinazzi as the leader of the Saubers. On the back row of the grid will be Adrian Sutil, and Mick Schumacher also drops 5 places due to a new BMW power unit. But now looking up to us, starting all the way down in P6. Once again, we had the opportunity to get ahead of both the Red Bulls, but still we get beat by Hamilton, so we could have started from 5th really, but still, hopefully we can get a good start and try and get ahead there of Hamilton. And hopefully try and keep ahead of our teammate there, Robbie Kubica. Now it's waiting for the back few cars to line up, the 2 Saubers, Mick Schumacher on the back row of the grid, and Schumacher's going to have his work cut out today. He's to try and score points from this race, and how hard it is to overtake round Hungary, and so it's expected to rain later in the race, that could just make it even more difficult for the young German. Now coming to the 5 red lights for the start of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go. Can we get a good start this time? So once again, no, we get another shocking start Just like Johnny Van's clear at the front there, they've got Lewis Hamilton looking to make a move 3 wide possibly, just has to slide behind there, just wasn't the gap in between Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso. So now trying to get right through 3 wide down to turn 1 with one of the Renaults. Now Robbie Kubica, Stroll making 3 wide out, Stroll forces Robbie Kubica, they're off of the track. And the young Canadian makes a move there ahead of our teammate Robbie Kubica. Now Kubica have to go side by side with one of the Red Bulls, and how good the Red Bulls are with their aero and chassis. Should be able to try and make a move around the outside there. Robbie Kubica is going to keep it side by side. Kubica is going to try and hold it right around the outside line. He's going to keep it side by side now. You know, the Red Bull has to bear down. You see, with the momentum, the Red Bull trying to make a move there around the outside, coming up now into second sector. Trying to hold it right on the outside there. Robbie Kubica. He just makes the move stick there on the pole. So Kubica there with a terrible start there, getting forced off the track there by Lance Stroll. So not the best of decisions there from Lance Stroll, but at the start of the race, you will find for every bit of track position you can find. Now cutting back onto us, we've actually dropped down a position here to P7. We're currently behind Nico Hülkenberg there in the Renault. Hülkenberg had a really good qualifying, starting in P8. And we know that Renault isn't quite top 10 material, so Hülkenberg there once again forcing that Renault further up the order than what it goes. Go a bit wider off the track, getting a bit dirtier on the front wing. We've got Lance Stroll behind us, but Stroll there, you can see he's on a set of medium tyres, so Stroll really shouldn't be any threat to us. And of course, since he's in the Haas anyway, he shouldn't really be trying to overtake us in the first place, even if he was going faster than us. Now coming up now towards the end of the fast now for the first lap, we've got one of the Red Bulls here of Daniel Kvyat right behind the back there of Lance Stroll, and that's going to be BMW Power v Cosworth Power, brand new Cosworth Power unit in the back of that Red Bull. But still, have they actually brought any upgrades? Are they taking new power unit elements so they have a 5th column of elements to use for the rest of the season? Coming into turn 1, it's like Stroll there has got the legs on the Red Bull despite a lock up there into turn 1. That BMW Power unit still mighty fast in a straight line, just enough to keep Daniel Kvyat at bay. And then Robbie Kubica is stuck right behind both of them now there with Max Verstappen waiting to behind in case anything happens with these three. We know how good Stroll's defensive driving can be, so we'll be putting up a pretty good fight there to Daniel Kvyat, I think. Now we're all over the back though, only a couple of getting very close to the back of the Renault there under braking. Now coming up now into the second sector, we go purple there through the first sector, which isn't really surprising since it's only the second lap of the race and everyone's going faster than what they did on the first lap. And now coming up now through this medium speed chicane. Once again, it's like we're just going to lose a bit on the traction there. The Renault with some pretty decent traction and some pretty decent top end speed, as we've seen back to Austria, where we just spent many laps stuck behind the Renault. Then see our power unit getting towards the mid part of its life. I mean, we shouldn't have any failures this race, although the MGUH does look like it could cause some problems later on in this race. And of course, we're going to be promised major upgrades for the second half of the season. We'll be getting a whole new B-spec car, new chassis, improved aero, and especially the main thing is a brand new BMW power unit, which will help us and Lance Stroll. Hopefully Stroll's still keeping in front there. I've done a Kvyat course through the second and third sectors, not really anywhere you can overtake. But now Kvyat will getting in slowly now on the back now of Lance Stroll coming down into turn 1, trying to make a move to the inside. He's had to stay behind now, we've pushed the inside now of Lance Stroll coming down now into turn 1. Stroll trying to hold it around the outside, going to keep it side by side there with the young Russian Bulls. Daniel Kvyat there on the inside line has managed to make the move stick. Now Stroll well the solution to try and come back at Daniel Kvyat coming now into turn 2. He's close to trying to come back at the inside. Now that's a bit of a lock up there from the car front. Stroll there with a bit of a lock up as well. Now he's got Robbie Kubica right up behind the back of him now. And surely Stroll will be told to get out of the way here of Robbie Kubica. There's really no point in Stroll holding up Robbie Kubica, and what you need to do is let Kubica pass and try and hold up Max Verstappen as much as possible. Now coming into the pits, actually see how much Daniel Kvyat's already pulled away from us. But now we're coming into the pits for our first stop of the race. And we're going on to another set of the super soft tyres, and I think that Daniel Kvyat will be doing the same things. We'll see there Robbie Kubica and the rest of the midfielders staying out for another lap block, or still on a double stack when there's no reason behind your teammate in the pit lane, especially when it's on dry tyres. Now coming in there, have we get a good pit stop here from Williams? They've actually been held up there, that probably for Daniel Kvyat. I mean, I think Daniel Kvyat was the only other car I saw in the pit lane. So Daniel Kvyat there does come out in front of us. Looks like it's going to be a pretty lonely track that we rejoin on. They actually got one of the runners there, Hülkenberg. So Hülkenberg's coming into the pits on this lap as well. Now then coming back out now into turn 1. Don't really like there's anyone near us. Actually, as I say that, we've got the two Saubers there right up behind us. Didn't see them, but that's crucial there. They came out there in front of the two Saubers. We know how slow the Saubers really are on the track. This track really not suiting the Saubers car really. Well, honestly, no tracks suit the Sauber with how little aero they have on their car. But you say the straight line speed truck like Monza or anything power related is their best chance of scoring points, because they're still, I believe, pointless at this point in the season. So pretty much, yeah, a pointless season there for Sauber, and also you could say in both specs as well, just for points and for their general car as well. You're so much slower than everything else. I mean, there are times that McLaren have out-qualified them, but it just doesn't look like the McLarens have the race pace outright. We're on this track, a slow speed track where power units aren't really that important. It's all down to chassis and aero. But now we've got Tucky with the McLaren, we've got Daniel Kvyat and making a move to the inside there of one of the McLarens coming up now into the third sector. He makes the move there around the inside there of Carmen Jordan there. Of course, Jordan was there with medium tyres, and we know that McLaren's slow enough with being on the fast tyres. So he put this, one of the slowest cars on the slowest tyre, and there's pretty much no chance here of Carmen Jordan's famous. So you see already all over the back there of that McLaren's really diffuser, but now we'll have DRS and the slipstream now on the back of Carmen Jordan. They're going to make a move there to the inside because Jordan still has DRS with the car of Daniel Kvyat in front, but it's this thing that makes no difference there whatsoever, and we breeze past the McLaren there in a straight line, almost like it's not even there. And now we've got Carmen Jordan who has come out there in front of Robert Kubica. Of course, Kubica will now should be able to make an easy move past Carmen Jordan as well when he catches up to the back of the McLaren, which shouldn't take too long, so it should probably in a lap or two just makes a move there on Kubica. See, the Kubica now is the car behind us now. Can move head on. You see now it is raining actually, so the rain is coming down now. The rain was expected in this race, and we saw from practice we had a coming around this corner exactly as they would go beyond the curb and lost it completely. But thankfully that was an FP2, so there's enough time to fix our car before the race. Now just like there, one of the Hasses there just goes completely straight on into the right-hander there. And that allows Daniel Kvyat to get past now all over the back now of the Haas. And of course, like we know the Haas BMW B team, that surely they've been instructed to not hold me up, but we should be able to make a move anyway in a straight line if the Haas just lets off the power slide. You're trying to go around the outside there of the Haas around the final corner, but it's just having got enough downforce on the car to hold it around on the outside. Now getting into the station now, going to pull to the inside now of the Haas coming down to turn one. It's going to be side by side now coming down to turn one. See the Haas with some pretty decent top end speed. Of course, they're pretty much a low drag Williams, so they will have more straight line speed but less traction out of the corners. And then you make the move on the Haas. Thankfully they don't put up a fight to us, so good driving there from Mick Schumacher, I think that was. So Schumacher there finally is learning, finally getting some skills developing in this season. I mean, the first race, the nightmare race, took us out in the pit lane, but he's just been building his pace race by race, and honestly he isn't that far off the pace now of Lance Stroll. And Stroll once again had a pretty difficult start to his F1 career, so the BMW drivers, they're getting there, the BMW young drivers, so hopefully in a few races time there'll be decent top 10 challenges up there with the two Toyotas. Of course the Toyotas bringing their power unit for the next race, so Toyota could be a real unknown for the second half of the season, because when Toyota were in Formula 1 previously, the power units in pure straight line speed weren't the best, and you saw they're now coming in for intermediate tyres at the end of this lap, because Jeff there, our engineer, calling us in for a set of intermediate tyres, so going to go on intermediates and then another set of intermediates later on if the rain doesn't get too much heavier to warrant a set of wet tyres. So it should be a two-stop from here, albeit, well, if we need wet tyres, it'll still be a two-stop from here anyway, regardless of what tyres we're on. Now coming into the pit, so it's like one of the Toyotas down in front is actually staying out for another lap. So Toyota clearly don't feel that it's time yet for intermediate tyres. Could that be a crucial mistake there from the Japanese team? Because they're back in Formula 1, I don't know how many of the Force India staff they kept on, so that could be an all-new team, an all-new strategy department, and they've got to relearn Formula 1 once again. Now coming in now for a set of intermediate tyres, we're going to get held up in the pits this time. We do get held up actually for one of the Ferraris. What? How is their Ferrari this far down? See there, one of the Ferraris are right in front of us, so do they have some kind of stop-go penalty? They must have had a 5-second stop-go or something, but I thought that Red Bull there, actually one of the Red Bulls there, Daniel Kvyat's going in front there of Sebastian Vettel, so I thought Vettel would have been easily 5 seconds in front of us, so I think had a front wing change or something. Something has gone terribly wrong there for Ferrari in our pit stop, and now let's put the 5-time world champion Sebastian Vettel now behind Daniel Kvyat. We know the Red Bull in the wet is in its absolute prime, so it's not going to be very easy for Sebastian Vettel or anyone else to make a move there past the young Russian. Now cutting a bit further on, taking a look at the running order, and to little surprise, Jean-Eric Vance leading yet another Grand Prix, with Fernando Alonso there trying to chase him down in second. So good pace there from Mercedes. Mercedes haven't had the best of times around the circuit in the past. And they've actually got Lance Stroll in the Haas in a brilliant P3 currently, trying to hold out for the rest of the race. And then we have Pierre Gasly as the lead of the Toros is there in fourth, so all the fast cars that started on slower tyres really have found themselves actually not making a stop before the start of the race. Then you have Daniel Kvyat there in fifth, and then we have Kamui Kobayashi all the way up into sixth now, followed there by Daniel Ricciardo as the lead of the Renault, trying to catch up there to the back of the Toyota. Then we have Sebastian Vettel there, now freed up to try and attack the slower cars in front. Then we have Carlos Sainz, who doesn't look like he's forced any off the track at this point. And then we have Lewis Hamilton there riding off the top 10 in the second Toyota, and then there's us there in 11th, getting right up behind the back now of the 2008 World Champion. He's actually quite a bit closer than we were previously. So now can we try and make a move on the back of Hamilton, coming down his turn, because Hamilton will have the station, of course, no DRS in the wet conditions. But we either have the faster go, but Hamilton still has the station at the back there of the Toro Rosso in front, now coming down into turn one. We're just not quite close enough there to the back Or Lewis Hamilton seems to try and make a move there. So once again, faking a move their team side, trying anything to put off Lewis Hamilton, but this kind of move is really not going to work here. They're going down into turn, so we're close to trying to make a move their team side of Hamilton. Once again, Hamilton just a bit too far in front, coming into the braking, so we have to slot in there behind the 2008 World Champion. Then we have Mick Schumacher running with the points positions there in 12th, with Robbie Kubica now catching up to the back there of the young German. And I imagine that Schumacher won't make it too difficult for Kubica there to get past. Then we have Carmen Jordan, just pretty much in a world of her own, just outside the points positions in the McLaren Honda. Then we have Max Verstappen, now behind Carmen Jordan, and also Verstappen there with some nightmare issues it seems with that Red Bull. Now he's got Nico Hulkenberg in the runner there right behind him, so Hulkenberg there must have had some kind of disaster as well, because Hulkenberg starting in P8 was up in 7th at one point ahead of us, so Hulkenberg there with a nightmare strategy it seems. And then we had the lead of the Saubers not too far behind. I think that's Giovinazzi, and that is indeed Antonio Giovinazzi there in the Sauber. And then we've got we've got Adrian Sutter there right at the back of the grid now, way behind everyone else, and it's pretty much in a no man's land of his own as well. Now moving on now to the end of lap 23. It's now time for us to go into the pits at the end of this lap. Just going to tell our pit crew there that we are coming into the pits now at the end of this lap. I think one of the cars in front there stays out once again for another lap. Now going to be able to run a bit wide, they get a bit of understeer because with the tightness of the pit lane entry. Coming in there behind Lewis Hamilton, it's like Schumacher and Kubica of course will stay out there for another lap, and they just go past us now. Now we're going to be a pit lane battle now, try and get in front of a few cars. Once again, the two Ferraris there in the pit lane. And Hamilton they're getting his pissed off just in front of us. Well, see there the Ferrari goes. I mean, they've been held up for someone there, but it's only been held there for Hamilton. Of course, we came pissed behind Hamilton. We've actually got ahead there of Carlos Sainz. So Sainz there with a terrible pit stop there from Toro Rosso. So honestly, I'd have to say that's karma, unless Toro Rosso were instructed to let me back past. But either way, we've got back in front now of Carlos Sainz, and now Sainz hopefully shouldn't be any danger unless he completely torpedoes us into one of the corners. But Sainz there thankfully shouldn't be an issue now for the rest of the race. Now moving on to the end of the next lap, and now we've got Robbie Kubica coming in there right behind the Haas there of Mick Schumacher. So Kubica hasn't managed to make the move on track past the Haas there of Mick Schumacher, which is the B team for BMW. So I imagine the Haas actually might hold Schumacher here in the pit box to let Kubica go through. So we need a good pit stop here from Williams, and it's like Kubica there has got a good pit stop there from the Williams team, and we've got Schumacher that's actually been held there. You've seen he was held there. Has Kubica made a move in front there, and Kubica has gone in front there of Mick Schumacher. So good strategy call there from Haas to let the bigger team Williams go through. Robert Kubica there comes out just behind one of the Toro Rossos, so that must be Carlos Sainz as well. So Kubica there lost quite a bit of time there in that one lap, stuck behind the Haas there of Mick Schumacher. Unless of course we managed to get DRS, and of course we know DRS, we just have the slipstream now on the back of Lewis Hamilton now coming down into turn 1. See getting quite a bit on the brake once again, it's going so late on the brakes. Thankfully no actually hit into the back of anyone yet with how late we do go on the brakes. But now we have the slipstream now on the back of Lewis Hamilton, getting pretty close there to the behind the back there of that pink Toyota, coming down now into turn 1, trying to make a move there inside. Hamilton gets behind the curb and they locks up, runs out wide. Hamilton pulling a wheel down the curb, makes a mistake, tries to force his back on the inside, but he managed to make the move there in front of Lewis Hamilton there in the Toyota. Hamilton there making a mistake, putting the wheel there on the curbing on the white line. That's really not something you want to do if you want to try and stop your car for the corner. And now we're making the move there in front of Lewis Hamilton. We're now moving all the way on now onto lap 33, so only 2 laps and a corner left to go in this race. And I've caught up to the back now of Sebastian Vettel. So Vettel there really hasn't managed to make any progress after getting past Carlos Sainz and myself. He's all over the back here of what I think is possibly one of the Toyotas in front now to come on to lap 34 or 35, so only 2 laps left to go in this race. So we know that Toyota is fast in a straight line with that energy power in it and a low drag setup. Of course, trying to maximise what they can to try and close the points gap to the car in front, to try and solidify a solid position on Toyota's return back to Formula 1. But now coming on now 3 seconds, Vettel there doesn't lock up thankfully. So you've got one of the lap cars there, one of the Saubers there, Adrian Sutter up in front of us, and hopefully Sutter then gets out of the way cleanly, so you can try and make a good move there and show hopefully Sutter there doesn't infect the championship, the battle here in this race. Now Kubica there all over the back there of the Saubers, to completely lock up there, runs out wide, but thankfully he managed to make the move there past Adrian Sutter there. Kirby actually keeps in front there of Adrian Sutter, and thankfully for him, crucially for him, keeps in front there of Sebastian Vettel, and Hamilton there has managed to make the move past Adrian Sutter as well. You need to see how slow Kobayashi is going here, just trying to keep it in front there of Sebastian Vettel. Once again, coming through the second and third sector, I actually get a mega run out of the corner before. There's just no way he can overtake. If it stays like this, then Kobayashi should be on for a brilliant P6 position after starting down in 16, 17, somewhere around there. You can see our pony now getting really warm. See there, our MGUH now reaching the orange wear, but it's only about 75, 76% wear. So we've got one more lap left to go, and we never have to use that MGUH ever again. So if we can just hold out for one lap, we know BMW reliability has been pretty decent, with the Williams at least, not so much in the Haas. We're in the Williams, has been pretty decent, so hopefully we've just got one more lap to go to try and make this engine last, then we never have to use it ever again. Got on a brand new bespoke BMW M Sport 4H B-spec power unit for the second half of the season. Now coming down this turn one, getting a switch in there on the back. Sebastian Vettel there just getting a switch in the back of Kobayashi in front. There's just nothing they can do. Although Vettel there does run out a bit wide, they give some opportunity, but now looking to Jean-Eric Verne. He now comes around the final corner, and Verne there is going to win the Hungarian Grand Prix and extend his already mighty championship lead. You see there, Vettel, you see there, the Verne wasn't actually too far off lapping us. See there's got a few cars in front there, it's got Kobayashi, our teammate Robert Kubica in front of him there, so Kubica there, not too far off a lap down. So mighty, mighty pace there from Jean-Eric Verne there in that Ferrari. Now coming back and forth now through the second sector, got half a lap left to go to try and make a move on Sebastian Vettel, and for Vettel to try and make a move on Kobayashi. Well, for us to still stick, and we got Hamilton there right behind us. Of course, we can't just focus on attacking Sebastian Vettel. We could try and make a move on Vettel, which doesn't work out, and that could allow Sebastian Vettel to keep away from in front of us there and allow Lewis Hamilton. And the try to keep just forcing our car around the second sector. Of course, we're just going past where we spun out there in practice too. And now coming now into the second sector, we didn't get the best of run there, so that was pretty much nullified any chance for us trying to get past Sebastian Vettel. Vettel hasn't managed to make a move past the Toyota of Kobayashi either. Now coming around and found a few corners, trying to find a way around the outside, trying to find any line, trying to find a way around the outside there of Sebastian Vettel, but now coming around the final corner, just too far behind, trying to make a move there under braking on the back of the 5-time world champion. Now coming on to straight now for the final time, coming up to the finish line. Now we're going to finish in a rather disappointing P8, honestly, seeing because I had so much more. Could have been there in P5 with the pace that we had, with our car that we had in this race. But there you can see Arriva Bene once again looking very happy there with yet another victory for Jean-Eric Verne. Verne really just stomping his authority on this championship. Mega drive there from Jean-Eric Verne, and now everyone else, the Mercedes, BMW, Red Bull, everyone's got a lot of work to do to try and stop Ferrari's championship charge in both for Verne, the constructors, and the drivers' championship as well.